Good evening, and welcome to Direct Impact Broadcasting, the station of growth and transformation. Affiliate of Creative Broadcasting presents Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson, with your host, Tawana Wilson, as she welcomes her guest to the studio.
Welcome to Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson. I am your host, Tawana Wilson. A little bit about myself. I am your award-winning leadership maven, medical laboratory sciences by background, best-selling author, owner and chief leadership coach at Trendy Elite Coaching and Consulting Services, executive director with the John Maxwell team, Maxwell DISC certified consultant, Send Out Cards referral partner, and co-owner of Direct Impact Broadcasting radio station. Before we bring on my special guest, I want to thank Emerge Women Magazine for the 2019 Spring Women in STEM feature. To get a copy of this amazing magazine, please visit www.emergewomanmagazine.com. I am also excited to announce a new Direct Impact Broadcasting radio station affiliate, which will be launching May 1st. Stay tuned for details. Thank you to my media mentors, Ms. Ashley Little and Ms. Kimberly McLemore of Talk Radio TV Network, LLP. Today's special guest is my friend and fellow Kentucky State University alum, Mr. L. Kobie Wilkerson. L. Kobie Wilkerson, a.k.a. Kobie Da Wiz, is an award-winning author, poet, speaker, presenter, storyteller, edutainer, master teacher, and powerful transformer of schools and organizations. He ingeniously converts resistance to change into receptiveness for growth. He is a leading authority on helping schools and organizations cultivate relationships that support a healthy culture and climate. Kobie works with schools and organizations where it is his goal to see them systematically operate at their best, so they can effectively impact those they serve. Passionate about continuous growth, he decided to pursue his education to shape and mold the values of children by inspiring them to love knowledge and to be lifelong learners. Mr. Wilkerson has a BA in education and a BS in sociology from Kentucky State University. He obtained his master's in education administration from Kansas State University. Kobie is a graduate of the Les Brown Speaker Training Program and was also selected as a South Carolina Educational Policy Fellow, a program of the Institute of Educational Leadership out of Washington, D.C. Kobie has taught in Topeka, Kansas, and Cincinnati, Ohio, where he was born and raised. During his time in Cincinnati, he found Camp Gye Nyame, a summer camp that focuses on reading, writing, and critical thinking. He has presented in South Africa and most recently participated in a Kenyan delegation put together by Utengo, whose goal is strengthening impoverished Christian churches and schools so that they become places of healing and restoration in Kenyan youth. Currently, Kobie serves as a chief consultant of the Love to Learn educational group and Love to Learn music, where they work to empower teachers to engage students to transform our world through literacy and music. He is also president of Learn to Love Books and CEO and president of the newly founded Love to Learn Foundation. Kobie has a passion for relationships and personal development, and a sincere desire to see all he comes in contact with become their very best. So, friends, good evening. Please welcome Mr. Kobie Wilkerson. Kobie, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing good, better than I deserve. So all is well in my world.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you on tonight and get all of this knowledge that you have to offer and learn more about what you're doing in our schools. So
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So can you tell our listeners about your journey to leadership and how did you get to where you are today?
Well, I guess the journey, started in Cincinnati. In regards to the leadership part, I graduated from high school, then went down to Kentucky State, and that's, I think, where the for real journey to leadership began. I got involved in student government, became Mr. Kentucky State University, and then SGA president. Was the first person in the history of the university to do that, and then got involved and became a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. And those were really the shaping grounds and the foundation of my leadership. That's when I really got to see what it was really like to lead other people. And it continued there. I left there, went to Cincinnati, taught, then I went to grad school out in Kansas, and I was the first graduate teaching assistant in their leadership studies program. And so I was literally teaching about 300 freshmen. I had two classes of 300 freshmen that I was leading, and so was put in like leadership positions where I was like the chair of some committees where there were college professors on the committee, but I was chair of the committee. So that was kind of really where we, like, okay, I got some leadership abilities, and then kind of honed that in and went up to Topeka and started teaching, and then got into this administrative internship program, and it was 9 of us in a program, and they opened up, and she said, there's 9 of you all, and we have 3 positions, so you all can do the math.
Wow.
And so at the end of that, I was able to choose the position. She said, finish number 1 in that, and I was going to be probably the youngest assistant principal that the district had ever had. And she was like, you're going to be the youngest assistant principal. You'll probably be the youngest principal the district has ever had. We're going to guarantee you a school next year. And I decided to leave there and start my own company. And that was in 2004. And since then, kind of, had some paths, and you heard in the bio, and the speaker Les Brown also did John Maxwell speaker leader training, and so just really been dedicating myself to what does leadership look like, how do you make people better, and part of that is really how do you make yourself better. So that takes me into my current work right now, which is working on and finishing up my doctorate, and the work I'm doing is the infusion of personal development into professional development. So not how do we get teachers and those in education to be better teachers or better leaders, but how do we just get them to be better, right? So, at the end of the day, do we want them to be better teachers? Yes, but at the end of the day, we want them to be better wives, better husbands, better uncles, better friends, because my philosophy is that you bring all of who you are to everything that you do. And so how do we just get you to be a better you so that all of you can flow into everything that you do?
Awesome. I totally agree. We definitely bring all of ourselves to work, even if we don't intentionally mean so. So I think that is awesome. Was that a difficult decision, really kind of walking away or, transitioning from that corporate, if you will? You were on a track to get your own school and be a principal to doing your own thing. Was that a big decision? Was that a difficult decision?
Yeah, it was huge. Hindsight 2020, I probably would have did it differently. What led me actually to that decision was, like I said, in this internship, we went through all the professional developments that the assistant principals went to. And so I had this list of things that I was addressing, and when she offered me the position, I said, awesome. I said, I'm excited. I said, but, going, through these PDs, I had a list of things that I thought that, as a district, we should probably try to address. And basically at the end of me sharing my list, she pretty much said, thanks for sharing. but we're pretty much going to do things the way that we want to do. And, and that it was at that point that I was just like, you know what, if I get into a position here, I'm going to be handcuffed. And so she said, which of the schools would you like? Which of the two, which of the positions would you like? And I said, I think I think I'm leaving. I think I'm going to resign. And in my head, I was like, what? Hold on, what? It was like an out-of-a-body experience. Like, who said that? It was like, I think I'm going to resign. And I was like, who said that? Like, who wants to resign? And so, and she was like, so what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to go to Atlanta, and I'm going to start my own consulting company. And she said, how are you going to do that? And I literally said, I have no idea. I'm going to figure it out. And she said, I'm sure you will, Mr. Wilkerson. I'm sure you will. And so I knew I had 3 more paychecks coming. And I knew between then and that time I had about 90 days to make something shake. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but the journey has been one that has made me, and you got to trust the process. The process is where you get your power. And, if sometimes if you don't have to jump, you probably won't. It's not going to be easy taking this road of entrepreneurship if you choose that, and it is definitely not for everybody.
Right.
But for me, I knew it was a path that I had to take. It wasn't like, okay, well, do you want to do this or not? I mean, I definitely could do something else. I'm confident in my skills and abilities, and definitely think that I would, do well in anything. But this has been something that builds you and shapes you like nothing else can.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I once heard a wise person say, if you know your why and you are very confident in your why, the how will come. So they said, know your why and know your purpose, and then the how you're going to get to it will all fall into place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is. It's a piece that you have to figure out. You know what I'm saying? So that the why piece, if you're really clear on why you're doing it, people's like, well, what were you going to do? How were you going to do it? I was like, that part of it was, you got to find mentors, kind of find people who are doing what it is that you want to do, and then be willing to work to learn and not to earn. And I think that's where most people get messed up, is that, they're trying to work because they want to earn a lot of money. But if you work to learn, the learning can't be ever taken from you. But sometimes, the job or whatever can be taken from you. But if you learn what it is you're after, then that piece will serve you long after whatever position or job you got is gone.
Right. I love that. I have wrote that down. I might use that quotable. I give you credit, but I might use that again.
Yeah, right. After that, you can have it. You know what I'm saying? First time.
So what strengths and experience do you feel were important for you to thrive as a leader in the world of education, and entrepreneurship, especially as you work with our young people, our young kids?
I think the biggest strengths and experiences that came to shape and make me were just understanding that who I am at whatever current moment is enough. I think there's just a confidence that comes in understanding that what you're going after is for you, and that you have to, as best as you can, to just try to be the message that you're trying to bring. You know what I mean? And I think that is something that has kind of always served me, and that's what I tell as I lecture to thousands of kids, and especially elementary and, really middle and high school students, and even adults, as I tell them that who you are at this present moment is not who you're going to be in a future moment.
Right.
Which is why trusting yourself is like so important, because you do what you know to do, which is best at that time, at that moment, right? So what I tell them is that you know what you know until you know something else.
Right.
And so I think about my experiences back at Kentucky State when I ran for Mr. Kentucky State University, and then I ran for, SJ president. But the thing about that is I wrote out this plan, right? So I tell people, write what you want to see happen. And a good friend of mine, Mark Isaacs, I'll never forget, I was a sophomore, and he lived across the hall from me, and he came in there and he said, man, we stayed in Young Hall, which was on B wing, which is kind of a wild wing, and he came in. What we would do is just all prop our doors open. We just prop the doors open, and there'd be music and all that stuff going. And so he came in, walked to my room. He's like, man, what you doing? I was like, man, I got 2 to 3 years. I'm just going to write down everything, that I think I want to do. And he was like, well, why don't you read me the list? What you got on there?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I'm a be Mr. KSU. Then I'm a pledge Q. I said, then I'm going to be SGA president. And he was like, wait a minute. He's like, nobody's ever been Mr. KSU and SGA president. Like, nobody's ever done that. I said, I know. I said, but somebody's got to be first. I said, somebody's got to be first. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. I said, I'm going to graduate with 2 degrees and a minor, and you know what I mean, and I'm going to take this trip here and, go to these places. And, he always tells that story, like, dude, you're the only person I know that, wrote everything, and you literally did everything that you said you were going to do. And I think that's part of the thing, is that if you don't have a bullseye, right, then you don't know the target that you're trying to hit. One of my favorite quotes is from Alice in Wonderland, and she's asking the Cheshire Cat. She said, which way should I go? And he said, well, that depends on where you're trying to get to. And she's like, which road should I take? And he said, well, where are you trying to go? And she said, well, it doesn't matter. Then he says, well, if it doesn't matter, then either road will do. And so that's the thing. If you don't have a clear idea of where you're trying to go and the target you're trying to hit, then, wherever you end up will be fine. And so you got to really be intentional, because what I've come to realize on this journey is that you can control only what you can control and nothing else. And the 2 things that you always have control over is your effort and your energy. And so you definitely can't necessarily dictate the outcomes, but your effort and energy is all you really have control over. And so if you point your effort, right, in a certain direction and do that in the most positive and way that you can, and go all out with the energy, then more often than not, the goals that you set for yourself, you're gonna hit them. And so, those experiences, like I said, in college has really come to strengthen me and really help chart my way, and learning those skills, those things early on helped me to really be successful, and brought me to where I'm at right now today.
I love it. I love that. I love that you wrote out your plan. You wrote down your goals, but then you actually shared it with somebody. I mean, a lot of times we have all of these ideas in our mind, and we don't put it, or we don't vocalize it. We don't put it in the atmosphere. And so I think that is crucial. Like you said, have mentors, have people that you trust, so that really that they help you stay accountable to your plan and your goals as well. So That was awesome. Okay, Brother Isaac, helping you through everything you said you was going to do. You did, and that's phenomenal.
Yeah, you got to have people who hold you accountable, and you know, you got to get you a circle of people who think big and who are not going to allow you to skate on the things that you say you want to go after. You know what I mean? And because at the end of the day, what it's really about is trying to keep your word to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest piece, right? So, you know, we make, you know, commitments and promises to other folks, but, you know, what are the promises that you make to yourself that nobody else knows about? You
right.
know? And so those are the things that, you know, keeping your word to yourself is pertinent, you know, and becoming the person who you want to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it sounds like on your journey you experienced a lot, and as we know, with success comes learning lessons. It's especially important for our next generation of leaders to not only hear our successes, but also our failures. So can you share with the listeners some of your biggest failures and learning lessons, your biggest failures, and what was the learning lessons that you gained from those failures or experiences?
Man, how much time we got for this? We done failed a lot. I think failure is definitely part of success, man. I think you just can't be scared to fail. And what keeps a lot of people from doing that is fear. You know what I mean? And what I tell people is, you know, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And so one of the pieces that when I first started, you know, my consulting company, I didn't really know what to do, you know, so I was going around and telling, you know, principals I was going to start doing, you know, music and storytelling. And, you know, and what people don't know about the whole world of education is, you know, people will commit and then, you know, the money will fall through, or, you know, it won't drop when it says it's supposed to drop, or all of that. So you end up in situations where folks said, you know, well, we were going to bring you in, but, you know what I mean? So then that puts me in a whole different types of situation. So, and then other things where people telling you, you know, just that whole no. You know, and so that's what I mean, you get told no a lot. And I think that's where that whole believing in yourself is just so pertinent, because whether other people think what you have is valuable or not, you have to understand and know that there's value in the work that you do. And so when other people don't necessarily see the value in it, you cannot internalize that as worthlessness. You just have to turn it up that they just have a different picture or vision, or they're not in the space. And so, you know, I mean, like I talk about the successes at Kentucky State, but, you know, we talk about some things where you do some stuff where it's not going to be necessarily, you know, part of this whole leadership piece is not necessarily do things in a way that you're always going to be looked at as positive, right? So you're going to make some decisions that are going to make some people unhappy. And I remember one of the pieces that we did, we took a ski trip down to Tennessee, and it was supposed to snow. It didn't. And then the people who were doing the HBCU College Weekend, their stuff was all jacked up. And part of the piece was there was a big basketball game going on that weekend too at home. But they chose to go on a trip. And so after stuff didn't necessarily go the way, they were like, well, man, we should just leave and go back. And I'm like, well, we could, but y'all don't understand the fight that I had to fight in order just to get us here with the administration. Like, they didn't know anything about that, you know, because they didn't want to let us come. So what we can't do is now go back early, you know what I mean? And so
right.
everybody wanted to go back, and they were like, we should take a vote to see who wants to go back. And I'm like, yeah, we could do that, but this is not a democracy in this point. You know what I mean? There's no ballot. I'm in charge here, and I know y'all don't all want to stay, but we're staying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We could be at the game. If we leave right now, we could get back, and we could, but we're not. You know what I mean? And so you talk about some of those things that leadership is about definitely having to make the hard decisions, because sometimes people that you're leading aren't always aware of all the stuff that's going on, above and behind the scenes. They see what's in front of them. Right. And they want what they want now. And so you have to be vigilant in standing by your morals, principles, and doing what's right, even though when right is a hard thing to do.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's tough to lead. It's tough to be a leader. I mean, it's not an easy walk. And I talk to youth, and that's one of the things that I try to let them know, because, our biographies, it highlights, showcase everything we've done, the successes. But what's missing? The journey, the failure. And so our kids are looking, like, well, I can't connect with you because you've done all this amazing stuff. And so I purposely make sure that I try to mention, those failures along the way. Nobody has experienced success and not had any failures.
I know, like, I mean, even in high school, that's when I talk to high school people. I'm like, man, I said, yeah, I own, several companies now and an entrepreneur and all that stuff. I said, but if I could have done anything different, I said I would have took high school more seriously. Mm-hmm. I said I did well in college, understood grad school, all that stuff. I said I graduated from high school with a 1.9.
So then you got their attention.
Oh yeah, they're like, what? Like, yeah, I went to Walnut Hills, you know what I mean, and so the work was rigorous, but what I figured out is how to do just enough, right? So I figured out if I didn't do homework but got A's on tests, I could cruise with a C. I could get, I could bypass with a C if I didn't just do any homework. I said, but what I didn't know is that what high school does is sets up the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And nobody told it to me that way. Nobody told me that, I was working for a couple $100,000 because, $30,000-$40,000 a year at 5 years, that's a couple $100,000. Like if somebody would have told me that I could have got a couple $100,000 in scholarships, I probably would have did some homework.
Right.
But perspective is everything. And so, like I said, you all see now. I mean, shoot, now even in this journey, it's levels to this thing. So you have successes, right? You have successes now. You know what I mean? And people think that the more successful you get, the easier it gets, but it doesn't. My failures are bigger now. You know what I mean? So, when we fail or something doesn't go the way we think, it may cost me $10,000, it may cost me $20,000. It's a bigger, hole and gap. But the goal is to try to get to learn as much as you can, because where you want to be, right, and where you are now, the only thing that's separating that space is just something that you don't know.
Right.
And so what you're trying to do is close that gap, and so find these areas of where I can be better at, whether it's in, my finances or being, getting rid of overhead, prices and all that stuff, and, connecting to the right people, all of those things, because we've had partnerships that, when people don't necessarily follow through with what they say that they're supposed to do, or, you get into a situation where it doesn't end up being what you thought it was. And so, people look at those stuff as you can look at it as failure or lessons. And I always say if you learn something, then you never fail. We fail forward. You know, meaning
exactly.
That's what it is. Those lessons, we don't lose, we learn. So as long as you're learning something, you never lose. And so that's the thing, and that's part of the tagline of the company is we always say, learn your lesson, because life is always teaching. Then I say the universe is always teaching you something, but, many people aren't taking notes.
Right.
And so, I say, I tell the high school folks and the folks that say note takers and money makers and life shakers. You know what I mean? If you want to shake your life up and you want to make more money, take some notes, because a good memory is worth $1 million. Pen and paper costs you $1.99. So write some stuff down so that you can remind yourself of the moment.
Excellent. Yep, I'd say talk less, listen more. If you listen more, people will tell you everything you need to know.
That's right.
What role has having a coach and mentor that you could learn from? What role has having a coach and mentor that you could learn from had on your life?
Oh, it's been huge. I think anybody who's trying to get somewhere beyond where they are, you need a coach or mentor. You need somebody who has either traveled a path or can direct you to where you're trying to go. It's huge. I mean, I've had mentors and who told me, and then showed me what to do in this industry. You know what I mean? When I first started out, I didn't know, kind of what to charge and how to even get contracts and all that. And I had somebody who literally took me under their wing and was like, this is what you do. And so you need a coach or a mentor to get you to the next level of wherever you're trying to go. And understand that even as far ahead as you are, or you may think you are, there's always somebody ahead of you. And understanding that piece, you got to understand the latter's true, right? So you as a person, you're always one step ahead of somebody else. And so regardless of where you are, you have something to offer and to give somebody, because there's somebody behind you who's trying to get to where you are. And so recognizing that as you learn more and become, bigger, better, or whatever, try to find somebody who is willing to do the work, and then share your time and energy to, help them to move. Notice I said somebody who's willing to do the work.
Right.
Because you have people who want to be successful, but they don't want to do what it takes for the success to show up. And that's the piece. In working with a mentor and a coach, you have to let them know and show them more than you tell them that you're willing to pay what it costs in order to, have the success that you're willing and wanting to show up in your life. And so you be willing to pay people, and that's what people think that stuff is free. And you should be willing to pay people for their expertise, their knowledge, their skill set, because they've earned that. You know what I mean? And it's valuable. And so don't try to get something that's valuable for free.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you mentioned that being willing to pay. And so that brings me to, because sometimes people don't know the difference between a coach and a mentor. Do you feel like there's value in having one or the other or both? Sometimes when people think about mentoring and mentorship, they tend to think that's a no-cost relationship.
Yeah, they do, but it's not. Like Like they both cost you something. You know what I'm saying? Like I always open whenever I'm working with teachers and then especially administrators or parents, I have this this commitment piece that I tell them. And I say this is my commitment, is that you're going to acquire something that's going to benefit you, personally and professionally, if you participate. You know what I'm saying? Because they always heard that saying that time is money, right? So you all heard that? Like yeah. I said, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's not. Time is more important than money. You know what I mean? Because you could get some more money, but you can't get no more time. But there are two things that you never let people waste. You never let them waste your money, and you never let them waste your time. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm going to have a mentee or I'm going to be a mentee, you know what I mean, or work with the coach, I have to make sure that, one, I'm not wasting their time because they can't get that back, and they could be spending it somewhere else. You know what I mean? And so, sometimes that you have to pay for that, pay for their time, and because their time is valuable. And if you feel that there's value in being connected to that person, be willing to pay for their time, and don't look at it as a cost but an investment in yourself. Mm-hmm. And
absolutely,
you're more likely to take what they say seriously and really to hold them at a accountability level where you're gonna definitely get something if you're paying.
Right.
And so be willing to invest in yourself to get yourself to the next level.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And, in regards to time, and not just time, relationships are priceless. So you never know who you might need to connect with that can get you in a room that you may not have been able to get in yourself. And so we need to think about that piece that goes with that mentoring, that coaching, and, things of that nature. Sometimes people don't think about that relationship and the value that has.
Yeah, because a good mentor and a coach will be able to get you open doors, and they got keys to doors that you don't have keys to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they can get you in spaces and places that you normally otherwise wouldn't have access to.
Right. Absolutely.
And so that's often what you're paying for. You know what I mean? Is there knowledge and access?
Right. Absolutely. You're an award-winning author and published several children's books, including Fred and Mary, Queen Infinity, Get in Your Place, and several others. I mean, you're just like doing the thing. I've seen your videos, you're dancing, the kids are dancing, you're singing, and everybody's having a good time learning. So can you tell the listeners how you got started writing children's books and a little bit about some of your books and the primary age level?
Okay, we have Fred and Mary was the first book that I actually wrote, and that book is really about loving yourself. And so the theme that's going to permeate in all of the work that I do is going to be learning, being better, enhancing oneself. Like that is the heart of all the work that I do. And so Fred and Mary is probably the cornerstone of all of that work. I use it with kids, I use it with teachers, I use it in parent workshops, because at the end of the day, that's what it really is about. It's about you having the most important relationship that you have is not that with others, but is that of yourself. And so if you don't have a healthy relationship with you, then it's going to be even more difficult for you to have that relationship with others. And so that's Fred and Mary. Queen Infinity is the one that won a couple international awards in reading skills and literacy. And So Fred and Mary is a birth to death book. That's for everybody. Queen Infinity is targeted for 3rd through 8th graders, and goes across all content areas. Getting your place is dealing with place value. When I taught kindergarten, 1st grade, I taught my kids place value to the trillions, and they're like, "How did you do that?" And so I wrote a book about it. When here it go, and that's what we did. So we wrote it and put it in the book. So that they could see how that's done, and so I do reading and writing workshops. I'm currently up here in New Jersey right now. Did a reading and writing workshop with about a couple hundred 3rd through 5th graders today, and then did some music and storytelling with another school. And tomorrow I'll be in another school, and then I'll be doing some leadership stuff, with a bunch of teacher leaders in this district up in East Orange, and so. Doing that work and working in schools and with organizations that are about making people better, that's really the heart and love of what I really do. It's just about helping people to be the best version of themselves at whatever level you are right now. And, it takes work. And so helping people to figure out that work in a way that they feel like they can wrap their hands around it and their arms around it and do it in a way that they can some success can show up in their life. And so, the books, the speaking, all of that stuff, all undergirds, that work. Those are just tools to aid you on that process of living this journey in a way that you can, be the best version of yourself.
That's awesome. Are you working on anything else? You got any other books or music in the pipeline?
Yes. You could check out all our stuff at, Kobie Da Wiz. That's DAWIZ.com. But, we got Fun with Fairy Tales that should be out this year. We got Kuga Munga Chuga that we're getting ready to drop this year as well. We got an album, Learn Your Lessons, Volume 1, that has, the 8 parts of speech, champion, getting your place, getting ready. Those songs are, already on iTunes, but we're going to be, in YouTube, but we're going to be dropping the full album here, hopefully at the beginning of the next school year. We got a poetry book that we're going to be releasing. Then we have, a couple other books around, self-development and all of that stuff that are coming out this year too. So we got about 3 or 4 books we're going to be dropping next year, and we probably got about another 4 or 5 books in the queue for next year. So 19 and 20 are going to be some super exciting years. So, stay in tune with me on Instagram and, Twitter and, Facebook. Everything is Kobie Da Wiz. So we drop a morning message every morning, like 3 to 5 times a week, on our page and all that stuff. And so we're getting ready to put that into a book as well, some of those sayings, to kind of help, inspire people to live their day with power. So we got some stuff in queue that's getting ready to come out and help impact the world as well.
Look at you. That's awesome. That's awesome and exciting. How cool is that?
Do the work. Do the thing and get the power. You got to, that's what I tell people. You got to do the thing to get the power. People want the power before they do the thing. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't work like that. And so what I tell people is to wrap your hands around fear. And I have this question that I actually ask myself, a statement that says, what would you do if you weren't scared, right? Because fear often keeps us. So what would you do if you weren't scared? And then whatever situation, and I literally answer it audibly out loud, right? So, one of my biggest years was, I was going to 2018. I was like, man, I'm just scared. I'm just, get kind of tired of being told no. I'm like, well, what would you do if you weren't scared? Well, if I wasn't scared, I'd just probably call as many principals as I could right now and just tell them about, so do that. So that's the answer, right? So you answer that question, and then the ending part is do that, right? So get into action. Answer the question, right? What would you do? Ask it, answer it, and then do that. So, that's part of it. So, you got to do the thing. Do the thing, get the power. And so we just after the power, man.
Awesome. I love that. Awesome. What advice would you give to our listening audience on strategies for thinking outside the box find their opportunities and reinventing themselves, especially if they may be stuck?
Well, I tell people this, right? If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. And so this is the thing, is that people, they want something different, but they don't want to do anything differently. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it's really like crazy, because you're like, well, I want to do this. I want to be, you know, more fiscally responsible. Like, okay, well, all right, then you need to start living your life, you know, by a budget. I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's what you're after. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, I want to be more healthier. You know, I'm tired of feeling bad. Like, okay, well, you're gonna have to start drinking more water. You know what I mean? And then change your diet. Oh, but I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the thing. Like, whatever you want, like whatever it is, okay? Whether you want a, you know, a happier, healthy relationship with yourself, you want to be in better physical shape, you want to be more fiscally responsible. Whatever you want is going to cost you something. Like, and you have to decide whether you're willing to pay for it. You know what I mean? It's going to cost you either time, right, effort, energy, or money. Like, it's going to cost you one of those 4 things. And you got to be willing to pay it.
Right.
And if you're not willing, like, you just got to be willing to pay it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be, you know, I want to be more productive and more effective with my time. Okay, so that means you're probably going to have to start getting up, you know, 90 minutes earlier. Oh, I don't want to get out of the bed. Like, you know, like you can't. You know what I mean? Like, you can't want more and not do more. Like, that's not how this works. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how this works. And so the advice I would give is be willing to do more to get what you're going after. Like, you got to sacrifice. Like, it's gonna hurt. You know what I mean? But the question is, are you willing to endure the pain of the process? You know what I mean? You got to be willing to endure the pain of the process to get you to wherever you're going and what you're after. You know what I mean? And understand that what you have control over, your effort and energy, like, you can direct that. And so pay. Like, that's all pay. Like, pay it. You know what I'm saying? Pay the money, pay the time, pay the energy, pay the effort. Like, pay it. Like, pay it. Pay what it costs, you know what I'm saying? And then do the work. Like, that's the thing. Like, you got to do the work. You know what I mean? People, like, that's the thing. People, like, man, like, you doing all this stuff, you're flying, like, but it costs me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it costs. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't see all the stuff where the flights are delayed, or, you know, we may have to, you know, cancel the flight and then get a rental car and drive 7 hours during the night just so I can be there when I said I was going to be there, because I said I was going to be there, and they don't care about, you know, my flight being delayed or the plane being delayed. Like, you don't see none of that stuff.
Right.
You're like, oh, man, he's just traveling all over the place. Like, yeah, but it costs him something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we pay for this. And so that's the thing, is just whatever you want, just understand that it's going to cost you something. And don't think that it's going to be a free. Like, I tell people, there's no free lunch. Like, ain't no free lunch. Like, success has to be, you know, paid for up front and in cash. Like, you just got to pay for it up front. Like, ain't no, you know, ain't no payment plan to this thing. Like, you got to pay for it right now. And understand that, you know, the investment is going to pay off in the long run. So pay. That's what I got for you. Pay.
Pay your time.
Pay.
Pay your calls. Just pay.
Pay the money. Pay the effort. Pay the energy. Like, pay it. Like, get it. Don't get up early. Like, you know what I'm saying? You put down the cheeseburger. Like, pay it. Like, you got to pay.
Right.
Get you some salmon and some spinach in your life. You got to pay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got to pay. You got to pay to play in all aspects.
Yeah.
Well, Kobie, our time is coming to a close. I mean, we could talk and talk and talk, but thank you so much for your insight and knowledge And I know you mentioned before ways that we could get connected with you, but I want to make sure the listeners got it loud and clear. So how can a listener stay connected with you and support you in your efforts?
Well, definitely. Like we're on YouTube, Kobie Da Wiz, Kobie Da Wiz. So we got videos. So if you know any, principals, superintendents who you think, teachers and students need to be impacted, share my stuff with them. The website is lkobiedawiz.com. If you, type it, me into Google, that's my newest thing. We've done the work, right? You've been working on content. So now we've done the work. Now we got the power. So, people are like, you can Google me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like that's my, like, that was the thing. Like, well, we need pictures of you for the thing. Just hit images, pictures, and type in Kobie Da Wiz. You'll get about 6 to 10 pages of that. And like, oh, you're for real. Like, yeah, this is what we do. We do this for real. So Kobie Da Wiz, everything: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. My Snapchat game is not what it needs to be, but we're working on that. But all the other platforms is where I'm at. We're on LinkedIn as well. Everything Kobie Da Wiz. So, connect to me, reach out. Like I said, and if you have, principals, superintendents, whatever that can be inspired, all the books and all of that stuff is available on the website, and we're working on merchandising with, the hats and the shirts and all that stuff. That's a part of our later in 2019, early 2020 plan. So we got merch coming. So, connect with me and, like I said, push it out here. We're just out here trying to do work to empower people to be the best version of themselves. That's what we're after. So if that's what you're about, then we're the folks you want to connect with.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kobie, for taking the time out. I know you're traveling, your schedule is busy, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you tonight.
Well, I appreciate you, reaching out. Like I said, good people know good people, and, you're good people. And so, that's what it's about, is helping to, empower and to push each other forward. So I appreciate you reaching out to me and giving me a platform to kind of share a little bit of the work that I'm trying to do here to help impact this planet, to make us all a little better than where we are right now.
Most definitely. It was definitely an honor to have you as a guest. Many blessings and much success to you on your journey. Again, couldn't have done tonight without you. I definitely appreciate it, and always looking out for my Kentucky State family. Very proud of everything you're doing, and happy for everything that you're doing.
I appreciate the support.
Awesome. Together we are better.
Yes, we are.
So thank you, listening audience, for tuning in to tonight's show with our special guest, Kobie Wilkerson, also known as Kobie Da Wiz, where he shared with us whatever you want is going to cost you. You got to pay the time, pay the cost, you got to pay to play. You got to be willing to do more to get what you want. You always have control over your effort and your energy. Write out your plan. If you don't have a bullseye, you don't have a target. Trust the process. It is where you get your power. Make sure you find some mentors or coaches, and don't be afraid to pay to be connected to those mentors and coaches, and be willing to learn and not just try to earn. So he shared those tidbits of wisdom with you that I hope that you all can use. If you're interested in being a guest on this show, or starting your own radio show, or some low-cost advertising to highlight your business or event, please email dibroadcasting, all one word, at trendyelitellc.com. Please tune in next week, where you will hear from another amazing leader. Until then, friends, have a good evening.
Thank you, friends, for tuning in to another episode of Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson, where Taiwana speaks with leaders who share nuggets of wisdom that you can use in your personal and professional life. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Coach T. Wilson. Connect on LinkedIn or visit www.coachtwilson.com. And remember, in life, learn as much as you can, appreciate often, and lead fearlessly.